Hey guys, Jeff at Hubie's Garage. Happy New Year. Just wanted to wish best wishes to everybody for 2026. I hope everybody had a great Christmas. And yeah, I figured first video of the year, being that the last video that I dropped was concerning the move and the new shop, Hubie's Garage number 7, as I've looked back. I figured this be a good opportunity to go and check out all the past Hubie's garages and kind of take a walk down memory lane. So yeah, we're gonna go back and look today at all of the past garages, stuff that happened in those garages. Yeah, it was a great time. You know, much of it was influenced by work. Much of it was influenced by what I could afford at the time, because some of them were rentals, as well as you know, the biggest component of it was family. I stuck around in the original area where my family, or I should say where my original childhood home was, which was Hubie's Garage number 1. And yeah, I'm 5th generation to that town. My family originally migrated from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada in the early 20s, and they drove all the way to that town. They bought a 2-acre chicken farm from a famous, or I should say well-known family in the Long Beach area, the Bixby family, and ended up opening a basically they ended up opening a family market. And they were there were pretty much 3 markets in town, small grocery store markets that were in town, and my family ran one of the first ones, and they ran that store from the mid to late 20s all the way through to the early 60s. So yeah, 5th generation, we all stuck around. It was a great little town to grow up in, and that's basically why I stuck around. And that was where my childhood home was, Hubie's Garage number 1, and you'll see how that influenced my later choices as to where I lived and what later became all of the additional Hubie's garages. So let's go for a drive and we'll go check these places out. Well, this is where it all started for me at Hubie's Garage number 1, which you guys have all seen before. It's Howie's Garage. This is where we keep Howie's 55 hardtop. And yeah, she's looking a little dusty through this new year. Looks like we're afraid to put the car cover back on it because of the dust. And so I'll have to come back over and give her a wash, top off the air on the tires, and yeah, and then take her for a drive and put the car cover back on. But yeah, boy, I tell you, there was a lot of work that happened in this garage. Lots of stuff happened in this garage. This car right here, the Bel Air 2-door sedan, was pretty much built in this garage. And the garage has changed extensively since the original garage, because the garage was stripped down to the framing and completely rebuilt. I'll show you a picture right here. Anyway, yeah, this was a garage that in the olden days, my folks bought this house when I was born, and there was a family in town that couple of brothers, and they had bought some houses, and they were pretty known for shoddy work. And my parents got a pretty good deal on the house because they bought the house from my uncle, and it took them about 30 years to get rid of all the shoddy construction. This room right here was originally a screen room that had a flat roof, and boy, the stuff that they did to convert it to a livable space was very questionable. And my parents finally just tore it all down after years of leaking roofs, and gosh, it had all kinds of problems. They tore it down and built it right, raised the foundation up to match the rest of the house, put a pitched roof on it, And then later on they came back and redid the garage because the garage was real shoddy too. At the front here, you see a single two-car garage door. Originally it had two single doors. It had a single right here, and then a post, and then a single right here. Howie's hardtop was always kept here, and then my 55 was, my Bel Air two-door sedan was kept right here. Howie's was always a shell. Well, I shouldn't say that. Initially it was the family daily driver, but in 1972 my dad broke the crankshaft in the 283 that was in it and parked the car, and it sat until about 1978 when we bought an L79 327 for it, drove it around the block, and then parked the car for another 15-20 years. Originally the garage had the two single doors because the original owner, the guy that I was mentioning earlier with the shoddy work, he had built this garage himself and put a second story on it, and the stucco area above the first door was actually detachable, and it went all the way to the roof. And what it was set up to do is it was set up so that he could put his fishing boat into the garage, but in order to do that he had to take the garage door off, take this upper panel off, and then drive the boat back in. And you see here the roof line's pretty low. Well, at one point it had a step up into a higher area in which the boat would fit in this stall. But after I moved out, my dad retired from the fire department, and then he did day one of his retirement, he started on the full frame off restoration on the hardtop, and this is what you see here. So they pretty much did the Penhall colors, which if you guys know Penhall concrete construction, this is a pretty trademark company colors. It worked out really well. I know there was a lot of magazines and stuff that they had. I'm trying to think what happened to the original. I know we had a picture of the gasser back when it ran here at Long Beach. This was at Lyons. So there was a lot of pictures on the walls. It looks like they kept the picture of my car in the toolbox, as well as you know, some of the magazine articles that they had. But built a lot of stuff in here. My car primarily we built in here. We had the car in here actually sideways up on floor jacks when we put the Turbo 400, the switch pitch Turbo 400. And after my car was done and we were still working on my car, putting it back together, we actually sent the hardtop out for, gosh, it must have been paint job number 2 or 3, and that one never came to fruition, and we actually had to go rescue the car. We ended up rescuing the hardtop twice from 2 failed paint shops, and yeah, that was a real fun time. I could show you one of those pictures right here. Anyway, yeah, that was the first one that we went and rescued. It was being worked on at my buddy Raymond's house. His brother-in-law was a paint body guy, and just never really got off the ground with getting the car done. And we actually ended up having to go rescue it from a field in near his mom's house in a bad part of town. So we ended up taking the hardtop to the guy who painted my car after we got my car done, and he went belly up at that point. And unfortunately, he had my aunt and uncle's 56 150 two-door business coupe, and they had my dad's hardtop, and we basically took 2 car trailers out there, cut the lock on the shop, and took the cars back before the bankruptcy courts could come in and impound all the cars. So yeah, that was a bad deal, but luckily it all worked out better for the hardtop because my dad did get the car done. But yeah, this car, some of the remnants of the old garage. Here's the upstairs area. We stored a lot of car parts. You can see the big backyard that we had here. Used to ride the mini bikes and lots of fun stuff out there. But this area, oh, you know what? I guess they did get rid of the elevated floor area because this actually was 3 rooms up here. this storage tunnel was walled off. And then right here where the roof line comes down, there was a wall, and then right about here there was another floor that was elevated so that the guy could get his boat in the garage. So anyway, parents redid this area too and turned it into a workout area and a storage area. And yeah, I think we've probably got a lot of hot rod magazines stashed away here too. Anyway, yeah, this was an awesome garage to have as a kid, awesome yard to have as a kid, and had a lot of space. Unfortunately, we didn't have room for 3 cars, because if we did, I would have had the Chevelle here. But yeah, we just couldn't get the Chevelle in. My dad wasn't going to let me bring home another one until I got my first one redone. But yeah, this would have been a great garage to have built some more cars, but we did build, I believe, my dad's original gasser was built here, stored here. I got some pictures of that right here. And obviously the hardtop spent its whole life here, prior to my dad living at home with his folks. And yeah, there was just this was where it started. This is where all of it started, and it was a great time, great childhood, great dad, lots of car guys in the neighborhood. The neighbor next door was like a second dad to me, and he was a big car guy. We had a lot of history with the other house next door, some car guys that lived over there too. Yeah, a lot of pretty awesome cars at that house too. But yeah, this is it. Hubie's garage number 1, which we now call Howie's garage. And yeah, we're gonna get back to getting this thing cleaned up and go for some drives, especially when we get out of winter and some of this weather. All right, this is Hubie's garage number 2, and yeah, this was my first venture away from my childhood home, and I got 2 other buddies, and we rented a 3-bedroom house in a ritzy part of town, It was a pretty well-to-do neighborhood that everybody wanted to go to, and they actually had some rentals that weren't too bad. And broken up between the three of us, I think I paid $450 a month, and I ended up taking the small bedroom, but I took the whole entire garage. I ended up renting with a high school buddy of mine who was a car guy, and another buddy of mine that I went to the fire academy with. And we were in this house for 3 years, and it was a ball. I mean, it was a great time because this was the first venture out, and you know, we had a lot of parties here, and basically yeah, we had a great time. So as far as cars, there wasn't really a whole bunch of work that was going on here. I really just basically did maintenance stuff here. I did do a wheel bearing brake job on one of my fire captain's 57 Nomad. He had an original 57 Nomad that had some really wide front wheels and tires on the front of it, and it just ate those ball bearings. So we brought it over and did a set of new bearings for it and brakes. And then the most noteworthy thing about this garage was the fact that this was the actual garage that I brought the gasser home to. So we found the gasser up the freeway here from us, 5 miles or so, and we drug it home. And this, I didn't take any pictures of it when we got it out of that garage because it was literally a barn find. It had been sitting in the garage since '71, and 20 years later we drug it out and brought it home, and I have some early pictures of what that car looked like sitting in this garage. So here it is. All right, this is the house, and yeah. Sidebar, that house right there with the car covers, that's John Butera's house, the last house that John Butera had. Yeah, he was a great car builder. But this is Hubie's garage number 2. And I could see my neighbor Steve still lives here because he has his Honda Civic. But this is it. This is Hubie's garage number 2. It's just a standard 20 by 20 garage that just had an overhead storage rack and a workbench on the side. I sloped driveway, and I had the Chevys out a couple times, the Bel Air 2-door sedan and the gasser, but this is the first place we brought the gasser home. My neighbor Steve is a good car guy. I think he was a big SCCA, Sports Car Club of America guy, and has a couple of cars himself. But yeah, neat first house to rent. We had some pretty good car guys. I know this guy right here had a chop top El Camino, and I don't see it. And then again, this was John Butera's. In fact, that's one of their trucks, one of Butera's trucks. And that was where John Butera lived. Great car builder. I'd put him up against Boyd any day. In fact, John Butera was one of Boyd Coddington's, one of the guys that Boyd Coddington looked up to. So this is the next one. This is the location of Hubie's garage number 3. And yeah, this was my 4-year camping trip after the party broke up in my other rental house with my buddies. I had a captain that I worked for, and when I had pretty much lost the rental with my two other buddies. Basically, the three of us, it broke up. I went to work and talked to my boss about it, and he says, you know, it's the darndest thing, I just lost my tenant. So he ended up getting me over, and we went and looked at this place that I'll show you here. Well, this is one of the reasons why I moved out here to Silverado Canyon. This was a fire station that I worked at, and it was real nice and convenient to live a mile from work. So coming up on the house right here, this is it right here. This is Hubie's garage number 3, and it's not looking like I remember it. Pretty messy. And this is it. This was the old second lot, and then the sheds, and then that's the garage. Still has the 2 back windows. I actually used those back windows to pull my car in, the gasser, because it got stuck and I couldn't get out into the driveway. This was the main driveway, and this was the garage. I actually built the gasser right here in the driveway between the garage and the house right here. So, oh wow, they turned it into a second house because it used to have a single garage door. Definitely changed since I've been here. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here. Great place to live. It was a great place for a bachelor. Garage was bigger than the house. No, I think the one thing that was great about living out here in Silverado Canyon was the fact that you were still in the city, but it was still a canyon that was outside of the city. You felt like you were further away than what you really were. If you had to go into town for anything, auto parts or whatever, it was pretty much an hour-and-a-half turnaround to get back. So it was challenging, you know, but it was close to work. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was only temporary, and it was basically living the bachelor life, because the house was definitely set up that way. I mean, deck over the creek, jacuzzi, house twice as big, or a garage twice as big as the house. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So we basically bought, the reason we left Silverado was because we'd finally decided to buy a house back where my parents were. And yeah, basically the camping trip was over at that point. So Hubie's garage number 4 and 5. Number 4 was probably right at the nose of this car, and then number 6 obviously was the first custom built garage that I built for working on cars. And yeah, this was the house that we built, my wife and I, and raised our kids in it, and it was a great place. We started with a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, and we tore that down, and it had a 1.5 car garage with it. We tore that 1.5 car garage down. It was in front of the old garage, and then we pushed the new one way back into the corner. If I remember right, it's a 25 by 30, about 750 square foot garage. So, but that was the one that we built after tearing down the original 1.5 car garage. The noteworthy items for these 2 garages: we built the 4-door 57 Bel Air wagon in the 1.5 car garage, and then the two car garage in the rear with the office and bathroom
We got the gasser going again. We basically never really got off the ground with making that a full functioning workshop, because we actually built the garage first, moved into the garage, made it a studio apartment, and then basically moved all the storage back into the garage while we built the house. So I basically kind of kept the cars stashed away in that garage for many years because, well, let's just say with my wife and a young family and needing money, it was the best way to keep them out of sight, out of mind, and still be able to keep the cars without her coming to me and telling me, hey, we need to sell those things. You never drive them, you never work on them, and we don't have the money to put into them because we need to put money into the family. So that was kind of why the Bel Air sat for so long. Alright, well, here's Hubie's garage number 6, the latest. As you guys probably saw, the bulk of my channel coming from this garage, but can't remember the square footage on this one, but I'll add that in once I remember what it was. But yeah, it was definitely a great garage. We had a lot of stuff that we stored here and built here. I mean, the bummer part is that it was pretty much a storage facility for us. We did a lot of work, and it was nice having the extra sheds, but and we had lots of storage space. But yeah, it definitely served its purpose when we moved from one house, from our original house that we built, to this house. And again, this was only to be temporary while we built in Montana. And then, oh, I guess they have it locked. But at some point when, and they got the door locked. Well, we'll look through the inside. But when they did, when we decided not to go to Montana and we decided not to go to Tennessee, we ended up buying in here. So yeah, a lot of maintenance, a little bit of building, and you know, this was a great rental. We got a lot of use out of this place. So anyway, and I guess from what I understand, they just got a new renter and they're finally moving in this next weekend. So figured it better come over and get some video of what it looked like. I'm sure everybody remembers. Well, I went ahead and did something. Yep. New digs for Hubie's garage.
All right, so that's all I got. Yeah, lots of different garages, lots of different stuff that happened in each one. Each garage was pretty special to me. And yeah, now that we're in Hubie's garage number 7, I'm looking forward to a great 2026. I have not been able to jump on any projects just yet other than this one right here. All right, first major project in the garage, the new garage for 2026. Doing brake pads, and we're doing performance AC Delcos, which are made in Mexico. And those are the new pads. I actually have this side on, and of course I'm using gloves, so definitely got my money's worth out of these. They're getting down there. I still probably had a couple hundred left to go. Not as bad as the other one, or the one on the 55, the Bel Air 2-door sedan, but yeah, these are, this is the thinnest one, so not too bad. We'll get the new ones on. Yeah, so it was time to do the front brakes again, even though it seemed like I just did the front brakes. I bought a set of performance slotted rotors from AC Delco, as well as the matching pads. And apparently I went through those pretty quick, so they needed to be replaced. So you saw that was the first project that we did in the new garage. And I am looking, now that we've gotten through 7 days of rain and 4 days of Santa Ana winds, I'm looking for some better weather to get out. And yeah, I'm gonna get back on these 55s. So yeah, lots of stuff coming up for 2026. I hope your 2026 has been great. I hope it's kicked off as a great start for you all. And I'm very thankful for all of my loyal subscribers. And if you're not a subscriber, just click the button. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it'll really help me out, because I think I'm down to my last 30 subscribers. If I could get an additional 30 subscribers, I'll be up over 3,000 subscribers. So it blows me away to think that 3,000 people would want to check out the content that I have. But then again, Tri-5s are well, they're pretty popular and they're pretty special. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. And yeah, we'll get back on these Tri-5s now that we're getting settled into the new place. So anyway, best wishes to you all for 2026. Thanks for stopping by, and have a good one. Take care.